Ron Moshier, who's also a Giants fan. You okay, Ron?
No. I'm sitting in the same chair where I was yesterday when it just so happens that 1 second remains and a 61-yard field goal. My wife's sitting here, Monica, with me, and I'm saying, if he makes this TV may not last through the day. Yeah. And of course, he made it, but I'm still sitting right in front of that big screen TV, and I haven't moved from here. No, I have. But, what Jeff said about Odell Beckham Jr., I was texting back and forth with a nephew who goes to UAlbany, and I sort of raised him to be a diehard Giants fan. I used to take him to UAlbany to training camp when the Giants were there when he was a little kid. Anyway, I texted after Odell made the second touchdown catch, pinning it against his shoulder pad with one hand. Remarkable, right?
Yeah.
But I texted him and said, I have a love-hate relationship with number 13. Because after what he did, after he caught the first touchdown pass, acting like a dog, and, and there was a fire hydrant there, well, I mean, you're still down 14-7, and you've done absolutely nothing. You're lucky you're in the game.
Yeah.
He's an odd guy.
Ron, if I can just, one of the things that came to my mind yesterday, do you remember the 49ers coach, Singletary, the whole rant he went on about Vernon Davis?
Mike
about
Singletary, yeah.
The whole thing about, when it's about the player and it's not about the team, I can't play with him, I can't win with him, I can't coach him. He went on that, and that played over and over in my mind yesterday. That offense has been horrible, and they finally score a touchdown. They're still losing, and he wants to feign urinating in the end zone. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It was, and then he went bonkers on the sideline. Well, when you're still behind 14-7, and the only reason why you're in the game is because the Eagles weren't doing much either. And they had just, had a turnover that let the Giants back in the game. I just don't understand it. It turns into all about him instead of the team. And finally, when they went to a commercial and came back, they saw McAdoo at least was saying something to Odell. Now, I don't know if it sinks in or not, obviously, but
well, and I think that's the first time that's happened.
Painful, and the offense has been painful to watch anyway.
I think that's the first time that's happened. I was glad to see that McAdoo actually pulled him aside and said, you're hurting the team, cut it out.
Well, I wasn't happy. What was it when Odell and Josh Norman were going back and forth? That was embarrassing too. And when Tom Coughlin didn't drag him aside and grab him by the, I really think like the Steelers coach Mike Tomlin, I really think he would do that. If it's Antonio Brown, I think he grabs him and takes him aside. And I also have to mention what you guys said about Jerry Jones. Yeah, he's going to discipline our bench guys for not standing for the national anthem. But, of course, Ezekiel Elliott's okay to play even though, he beats up his girlfriend or whatever. That doesn't make sense to me. That's
you want to get into a little. I mean, what is the president doing, Ron? Getting involved in this and really throwing gasoline on the fire here.
Well, again, it's Twitter. I'm on Twitter only because I have to be because of work.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of followers, but that's only because I give football scores on Friday and Saturday. Right. I don't, because of my work, and I'm trying to be as professional as possible, I don't tweet about politics. And, I can't really, I wouldn't really on the air talk to you about politics, actually. But if I was the president of the United States, I wouldn't be talking about policy on Twitter. I wouldn't be talking about NFL and NBA players on Twitter. I just wouldn't do it. I just don't. Of course, that gets into the whole presidential thing.
Well, without you having to say anything, I will say this. The president yesterday talked about it. Might have been the interview last night. He was asked about the whole thing and said, listen, I wasn't watching football yesterday because I don't know if you know it, but I have a lot of things to do. I don't have time for that. Okay, then follow your own advice and don't have time for football, okay? There's a lot going on in the world right now. To be piping in on NFL and NBA crap is just ridiculous. And Follow
and
your
I
own
think
advice.
it does just fan the fire, and then
It
then it's a back and forth. And
well, and beyond that, remember these owners have to worry about security in their stadiums. They're putting 50 to 100,000 people in these stadiums every Sunday, and when you now have two sides that are fighting each other in the parking lots and in the cities, it's bad enough. The two teams get into fights after a couple of beers, but you've now put a whole political issue on this where you don't need that. No owner needs that going on in a football stadium on Sunday. I'm just, it puts people in those stadiums in more danger than they already are. I'm just so enough of it.
If I can say this, Bill,
Yeah.
Here's how bad my Saturday afternoon/evening was. I did watch the Giants, of course, go down the tubes again, and then I did watch 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I went to bed feeling horrible about the state of the world. I really did.
I know.
State of our country.
Yeah.
And one thing that one woman said, and I do fear it. I hate saying civil war, but
I know. I thought
that's
that
my
was the
biggest
scariest.
fear. That's my biggest fear.
That was the scariest thing that came out of that interview. And I thought, by the way, that Oprah did a really good job last night.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I thought she was very balanced.
Yeah. But I got to tell you that one thing that I walked away from is you had people on both sides that no matter what Trump does, they're going to hate him. No matter on the other side, no matter what Trump does, they're going to love him. So when you have those two sides, there's no in between. So how do we move on without that terrible term civil war? It's pretty scary.
It was, and I don't know. It was just a sad state of a Sunday that was beautiful out. It was like a summer day, and I don't know. It was just a downer for me twice. So anyway, that's just me.
Well, if I could just add one thing, as a Bills fan, I don't think it was so bad.
Well, I stay off social media politically, but I did say yesterday, seeing the Jets get their first win before the Giants had me feeling like Hillary Clinton a little bit. I'll also say this, Ron. If you continued to watch 60 Minutes, there was an uplifting moment, and I almost want to make a wristband that says, "What would John McCain do?" Did you guys see that interview?
Yeah, I got to tell you something.
Although I really think 60 Minutes could have let him know that his left eyebrow was put up a little bit. I think they intentionally left John McCain's eyebrow disheveled.
It's deformed after the operation, I think, right?
Well, whatever it was, they could have told. As Jeff said, if Bill Clinton's eyebrow was messed up, they would have surely told him about it.
They would have run a comb through it.
I thought they made John McCain look incredibly well, and I thought it was
no, it was a great interview.
A true American.
Yes,
and no matter where you are in politics. So, all right, enough of that. Ron Moshier, high school football. Dolgeville continues to plow forward.
Yeah, that was really no surprise. Geez, it was 54-8, I think, at halftime, and I'm sure Dan Zilkowski and Brian Wilcox. I wasn't there, but you can tell by the game summary that he did call off the Dogs there early because some of their star running backs only had 5 or 6 carries against Waterville.
Yeah,
I mean that was a non-league crossover. I'm looking forward to a couple weeks away as the battle for Bartow Hill, which is Dolgeville and West Canada Valley. West Canada Valley's gone on a roll ever since losing their opener to Mount Markham. Matt Tobin threw 4 touchdown passes the other day and ran for another against a good Herkimer team, and they win 41-0. That's 3 straight for West Canada Valley now. Another thing that jumps out at me over the weekend, Bill, is haven't seen this very often over the last few years. RFA and Proctor both winning on the same day, so on the same weekend.
Yeah.
So that was good. I mean, both of them won on the road. Proctor, the name Landon Johnson. Remember that he's 6'2", 258 running back.
Mm-hmm.
So rushed for over 200 yards the other night in the win at Nottingham for Proctor. And there's a kid who I think he's listed at 235, but I had to question it, and the coach said, "Well, he weighed in at 258, so that's a running back." And
wow.
He rolled over RFA when they played, and he rolled the other night too. So unstoppable. And then RFA. Hey, they're all-league quarterback Tristan Hunzinger gets hurt late in the week, and so Coach Swabley, Ted Swabley, gives his sophomore son Justin his first varsity start at quarterback, and he throws a touchdown pass and runs for 3 others, and they come from behind it, beat Henniger. I realize Henniger's 0-4, but it's a good win for RFA because they needed one badly. They were 0-3, and that AA league that they're in and Proctor's in is one of the toughest in the state, top to bottom. So RFA and Proctor both get wins they desperately needed. And then, hey, I'm desperately trying to find out the last time New Hartford and Notre Dame played football. Maybe one of your callers can call in. I'm pretty sure it was a Central Oneida League back in the 80s because I can never remember covering a New Hartford Notre Dame football game.
And this was a big win for Notre Dame.
It was, but New Hartford was missing 2 or 3 starters, including Joe Kelly, who's a good fullback and a linebacker. But Notre Dame defensively just shut down the running game and forced New Hartford to the air. That was the gist of my story because it was 4 interceptions for Notre Dame, 2 by Espinosa. Patrick Espinosa had 2 of the 4, and then they recovered a fumble. And New Hartford actually was still in the game despite not doing much on the ground, but just couldn't overcome those turnovers. And Notre Dame had 3 big plays that they sort of leaned on. And I have to tell you, I'm doing something for tomorrow's paper on the place kicker, Tom Raffero, for Notre Dame. They needed a new center to snap shotgun snaps, and he volunteered, and he played the whole game at center for Notre Dame, about, 175 pounds, and didn't have one of the quotes I'm going to use in tomorrow's column, he goes, I go, how'd it go? He didn't have one bad snap from a shotgun formation, but when they got the victory formation, he said he snapped it into his own butt, and they almost fumbled because the quarterback, Trajan Garrett, was right behind center then, and he wasn't used to that. So other than that, he played a great game, and he was sort of like an unsung hero for Notre Dame there. So I'm doing a little something, a column on him and Westmoreland. Westmoreland taking their knocks this year, had lost a couple big losses to West Canada Valley and Bishop Ludden. They come back and beat 3-0 Beaver River the other night, and I really think Tim Gates has done a great job with a Westmoreland team that was supposed to be a little down, a little rebuilding this year. Yeah. And right now they just knocked off a first-place team that was unbeaten. Wow. So kudos to him.
And finally, you mentioned that West Canada Valley-Dowdesville game, which is one of the huge rivalries, Dowdesville, West Canada, year after year, Bardo Hill, the Battle of Bardo Hill, whatever it's called. But that is, you've got what is looking like a West Canada team that's getting stronger. That is playing up to, right now, is building up to be what could be a very, very big game.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And you know what? I don't have the schedule in front of me. I know it's not this coming weekend. Yeah. It's a couple weekends away, and I'm not sure who's the home team this year. But obviously it'll be on a Saturday because neither one of them play at night, and that should be a great game. Right now, though, West Canada Valley, I think, has got to get through Frankfort, who is 1-3, but I think one of the better 1-3 teams around. They just lost a couple of heartbreakers, and including last week, Sequoia Valley came from behind to beat them 44-36, something like that. Yeah. Two great players in that game. Garrett Evans for Sequoia Valley, the running back, and Joe Streeter, the running back for Frankfort. And I think Frankfort could give, West Canada Valley no way can look past Frankfort Schuyler this weekend.
All right, Ron Moshier, read all about it in the Utica Observer Dispatch, utica.od.com. The big gala comes up. Your bicentennial gala will be this weekend at the Stanley Theater.
Yes, and I was supposed to be there, Bill, but it happens to be my wife and our 4th wedding of the summer. One more nephew getting married in Cortland, and it's his wedding day. And it's also my mother-in-law's 90th birthday.
Oh, wow. You can be busy.
The kid who's getting married, his grandmother. So if I'm not there, I'm going to be in deep trouble. So so I won't be at our gala.
Understood. That's 4 weddings. That's pretty costly. It's been a busy summer and an expensive summer for you, Ron Moshier.
Yes, I think I might start a GoFund page online. So.
All right. Ron Moshier, read about it in the Utica Observer-Dispatch. Thank you so much. We'll talk again next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks. Hard to believe we're into October coming this weekend for high school football.